Welcome to a presentation from P&PM about embedded software management. Flashing devices at production and service events. That's the topic we would like to zoom in today. My name is Jens Schürpenbach, and I'm the founder from P&PM. P&PM is a special expertise consultancy in the area of PLM, Product Lifecycle Management. We focus on embedded software. We especially provide capabilities to establish a digital thread in regards to embedded software. So we focus on the integration of software engineering to operations, and we would like to enhance your operations to address the growing complexity of embedded software across the product lifecycle. P&PM designs and implements solutions to manage software within products and assets along the lifecycle. P&PM has been founded in 2012 by experienced consultants. P&PM stands for Product Lifecycle and Performance Manufacturing. Embedded software drives innovation speed and customer recognition of your products. Managing embedded software from engineering to production to service becomes a key capability. So this presentation will focus on the operational challenges and will highlight the required capabilities in regards to managing embedded software during production and service events. Let's take a very simple example. We see here a scanner, a device. And we see here the vendor-specific device type manager, where you can access the, let's say, configuration of this specific device. And you see already this quite simple device, an IO Link Master, has a few settings that you would need to configure. And you can imagine the more functions your embedded software provides, the more complex it becomes in regards to configuration of those embedded software functions. So if we take a look at other products, there are a lot more topics and complexities that you can think about. So when you think about different manufacturing assets or complex products like a forklift truck, a vehicle, or any other product, you have a lot of different aspects that the software controls, like the sensor sensitivity, different thresholds that need to be configured, different functions like, for instance, speed limits and light settings. But there are also, let's say, digital type plate informations that are installed into the embedded software that influence finally the different functions of the embedded software. So you see by this example, embedded software is not just, let's say, a flash file that is installed to a product, to a device. It also includes a lot more of functionality, of course, functionality that is configured via diverse software parameters. Let's have a look on the specific capabilities that are needed along the product lifecycle. So when we start with the engineering area, then we need to recognize that software is also implemented via modules and platforms a lot. So the opportunity is, of course, to scale the use of a dedicated software platform along diverse products. And that brings a lot of challenges into the engineering work. In regards to managing the integration into the overall product and the mission-specific application of the different functions. So the huge challenge is here already doing the engineering work, also the variant handling on the software functions. So when we think about production, we need to recognize that there needs to be kind of data supply on embedded software. And it's not just that the right software needs to be flashed to a device. It's also, meanwhile, all about configuring the software functions into the right direction. So we talk about a lot size 1 configuration of software functions. So configure to order, potentially also engineer to order scenarios where you need to have the capability to have a order specific data supply of a flash package, including the right parameter settings. So you see already at the production scenario, we face a couple of challenges, and it goes beyond a simple transfer of a few flash files. During commissioning, and commissioning can be, of course, a very different scenario depending on your product. We talk about maybe different challenges for embedded software management. So one is definitely that we need to integrate the functionality into other associated components or devices, so that we have a consistent system configuration in place. So when we talk about machines and where you would like to install sensors doing commissioning and installation, then we need to assure the overall, let's say, conformity of those different software functions that are, let's say, distributed across different devices. And another scenario might be the carryovering of settings from existing sensors to changed or to new sensors that are installed, or that you simply would like to carry over the same machine settings from one machine to the next during the installation of a new installation. So when we go to sales and service, we also need to think about that software could have failures and therefore needs to be replaced. And there is a lot of specific aspects that we need to consider, which really make a difference comparing to regular, let's say, spare part business in the mechanical world. So first of all, we need to be able to restore the software and parameter settings once a hardware device, a control unit for instance, is broken. So the ability to restore settings and a software configuration is definitely a necessity for a vendor of smart products. But also the ability to repair and update software configurations in the field is very important. And this can be a single event that dedicated software of a dedicated device needs to be replaced. But we can also rapidly talk about campaigns where we need to update a dedicated population in the field. So especially when we have connectivity to the devices, remote connectivity that provides remote flash capabilities, then you definitely would like to have the ability of campaigns to steer and control mass updates in the field. And last but not least, we talk about modification of software and even about adding functions. So the term is here software as a product, in the sense of you probably would like to sell different additional software features to existing products out there in the fields. For instance, you could sell additional light settings that could be simply switched on via software settings without affecting the hardware of your products out there in the field. So in other words, you can create a lot of added value to existing products via after sales by simply switching on and off software settings or upgrading the software of your devices in the field. So that should demonstrate, especially in the sales and service domains, what challenges but also what capabilities are required in that area. So let's take a more detailed zoom in into the challenges here. So when we talk about, for instance, the scenario of flashing products during production, we talk about also the configuration of products during production. And you have seen this picture with this sensor at the beginning, so you definitely don't want to configure all the settings manually as a technician on the shop floor. What you would like to have is that when your product A shows up at a dedicated station, and the technician says, okay, I would like to execute now the task to flash product A, then product A should be configured based on the sales order and the production order, and based on this you would like to have the right parameter settings that are configured. And those parameter settings should be handed over to the flash station so that they are finally installed to your dedicated product or vehicle. So you see with this example, which sounds rather simple, but we talk about the ability of mass configuration of software functions during production, which requires a tight integration of diagnostic data from your devices, actually the parameter settings, and an integration into the SAP ERP variant logic, so that you have a smooth digital thread of information and really can ad hoc configure the device settings for lot size 1. So another scenario is the configuration of smart products during service events. And in this scenario we think or we consider that via an e-commerce portal you provide to your customers the relevant software functions, for instance a light setting that could be installed to an existing product. And what is needed here basically is the ability to link a dedicated software feature to the relevant parameter settings and relevant software package that enables this functionality. So what we basically need is a configuration engine and the right parameter settings linked to that we say, okay, can I flash for, or can I add for a dedicated product A, which is existing in the field, which has a dedicated configuration, can I add a specific software feature? Question mark. So there needs to be a kind of technical clarification process, and there needs to be a kind of supply of the relevant parameter settings down to the diagnosis toolchain, so that your product A is reconfigured and therefore offers now this additional light setting to your customer for operational use. So you see, adding features to existing product in the field could be enabled simply via software variant coding without any additional hardware supply. So we are not talking about, let's say, adding any hardware to our product. This feature enrichment during this after-sales event is simply enabled by changing the software and parameter configuration of your device. Again, this of course requires a tight integration, so you need to have an integration from your e-commerce portal to the relevant software and parameter artifacts, and they again need to be integrated to your IoT hub or diagnosis toolchain, so that in the end the right parameter and software configuration is provided to your device. Now, we have seen now two examples that focused a bit on the subject of software variant coding or parameter management, and what we would highlight now with this slide here, with this page here, is the necessity of a digital thread for embedded software management. And you might recognize with this page here what is basically necessary. So when we start at the bottom, we have the onboard software, and there might be diverse scenarios depending on your product, whether it's a fridge or truck or a simple sensor. We definitely have here different complexity depending on what we talk about, whether it's one single microcontrol unit or a complex network of multiple control units. And that's of course depending on your specific situation. And there might be device-related diagnosis tools, depending also on the mission, whether we talk about production, where you might have a dedicated flash station, or whether we talk about service events, where we talk about device type managers, dedicated diagnosis tools, or basically also you might have connectivity to your products in the field via an IoT hub and a dedicated device management. And in any case, there needs to be a link from your operations via an e-commerce portal, via an ERP, into your diagnosis toolchain. And the basic idea from P&PM is that we link it all together, in the sense of that we integrate your engineering toolchain for software engineering with your PLM and application lifecycle management landscape, with the operations on ERP and e-commerce, and your diagnosis toolchain, which is here, let's say, interfacing to the different flash events doing operations. And our basic idea is to add here what we call digital thread services on top. And one that we have just seen is this topic about parameter management. So what we do here is we get from the engineering toolchain, we get the relevant, let's say, parameterization options, and we build out of this the relevant functions and configure the functions via such a parameter management service. And this is just one example of a digital thread service that we offer from P&PM, that provides the ability of mass parameterization at production events, but also that provides the ability of selling software features to the field, to the existing products out there at operation at your customers. But there are also other topics that I would like to highlight where we offer services to you. That is, first of all, the topic of what we call device package management. So providing the right software for service events is the subject that we are talking. So we provide, let's say, services for describing compatibility rules, so that we support software update events in the fields, managing update paths and constraints for software updates. Also, we offer services for managing campaigns, so mass updates of software in relation to a digital twin, which allows us to recognize the as-built and as-maintained configurations and simulate different new configurations going forward that are then implemented via the device-related diagnosis toolchain. And Another area that we also offer is about diagnostic trouble codes, so managing error codes and especially the measures. And once dedicated error codes are thrown by your device, we throw via the rule engine dedicated measures and trigger them. So that's just an overview about what we offer as a microservice-based architecture via the SAP Cloud Platform. Now, on the SAP Cloud Platform, we have recently, let's say, started to offer our device parameter manager, which does exactly what we have just seen via the previous slides. So it provides abilities to read and import parameter settings based on standards, industry standard like ODX or IODD. We offer a repository to manage the different software parameters across the life cycles and configure the functions of your software according to the missions. And then we have an integration service to provide those software functions to operations in your PLM, ERP, or via your IoT hub. And we also automate different aspects, for instance, a technical clarification. Can I sell this feature to that dedicated product out there in the field? Question mark. And the last area is, of course, to exchange the parameter settings to the retrieving events on the shop floor during production or during service operations. So this is available on the SAP store, and here are just a few slides highlighting a bit the capabilities. So we have here, example, the imported parameter data. We can manage complex parameter data structures. We bundle them into dedicated functions. You can configure the functions according to your missions. And via this graph mode, you can view the different dependency of your functions and your parameter settings for your devices. Now, this is all running on the SAP Cloud Platform. It has been implemented following the Cloud Application Programming model from SAP, which is actually compliant to the Cloud Foundry technology. So the device parameter manager is running autonomously on the SAP Cloud Platform, or actually on any Cloud Foundry environment running on the cloud platform. It is based on Node.js. We could use SAP HANA or an SQLite database. The front end is based on UI5, and there are different integration scenarios, of course, depending on your needs. So we can use or we can integrate to SAP S/4HANA backend system or other applications, to your device management, to your IoT hub. Whatever is needed is possible there. Now, many functions. I think it's worth to zoom in a more specific sessions on the different capabilities. This slide just highlights a few abilities that our tool provides. It starts with the importing capabilities of different industry standards, the parameter lifecycle repository, the function building and the libraries, and then of course the different integration capabilities to operations, starting with requirements management down to the operations in ERP, and finally the data exchange to the different events, and not to forget also the digital twin with a state machine where you can simulate different states of software configuration and variant configuration of your software functions. So what you have seen is, or what we just highlight is the parameter management subject on our digital thread service landscape, where we from P&PM offer a solution running on the cloud platform, the device parameter manager. And going forward, actually, if you're interested, we are working now on what we call our device package manager. So it will cover the packaging of software for service events. It will include a module for campaign management, and it will also include a digital twin for capturing as built and as maintained configurations, but especially to also simulate target states for flash events going forward. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to contact us. So we offer this as a microservice-based architecture, which can be configured to your specific needs. So what we offer from P&PM are, first of all, services in the area of diagnostic data. So with our mission to establish a digital thread for embedded software, our objective is to offer services that leverage the diagnostic data and link it to the relevant, let's say, business events during operations. And we also offer, of course, consulting expertise for end-to-end integration concepts to establish this digital thread on embedded software. So embedded software drives innovation speed and customer recognition of your products. Managing embedded software from engineering to production to service becomes a key capability. So we from P&PM would like to support you in transitioning your operations to manage this growing complexity and to leverage the opportunities that embedded software or smart products provide. So we're happy to support you for end-to-end concept design and integration management of your dedicated projects in the area of embedded software management. And we are offering full stack application and microservice development, leveraging the SAP and the cloud technology. So that was it from P&PM, enabling the digital thread for embedded software.